So this is our second meeting of part 6. And yeah, so just to very quickly revise the voices. So I was going to get this pen working. Yeah, so the active with the usual verb luo means it's translated in the older word dictionaries as loose because
Yeah.
they want to show you that there's the same sound. It's a cognate verb.
Oh, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't make that. Okay. All right
Okay.
then.
But
Yep.
it means to let go or to release. And
Ah, okay.
it could be to release a slave, or it could just to let go of a hammer,
Uh-huh.
right?
Ah,
But
okay.
that's an active motion there because
Yep.
the agent is undertaking that action.
Yeah.
Now, so the easiest thing to do from there is the passive. So luamai is I am being loosed or being released. So, I mean, loosed is Old English.
That's
Being,
right.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm being let go. I'm being let go, as in
okay.
like the machinery had hold of me, and then but now I'm being let go,
All
or
right. Yeah.
I'm being let go of a job
Yep.
by a business or whatever.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
the subject of the verb, but the
Yeah.
action is happening to me. That's what the
Yeah.
passive voice means. So
Yeah.
then,
Okay. Don't
so
worry
then,
about it anymore if you like, because it's really the problem of loose and release that was, I wasn't getting it. But I
okay,
understand now about getting let go. I mean, I can see the passive now. I couldn't understand the passive. Honestly, I couldn't. Yeah.
okay, okay. So
Okay.
just for purposes of completeness, so the middle is to do something to or for yourself. If you release someone in to either to you or for you, the most common way in which that occurs is to have someone be released because they're a relative or a friend by
Yep.
ransoming them. That's the
All
most
right.
common way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but literally it means luamai. I am releasing
Yep.
someone or something else in my own favor.
Ah, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but anything else from other parts of either section 22 or earlier, we can have
Yeah.
a look at.
Section 22. So section 22, page 281, number 3. What is the English for? I couldn't
Yep.
get my brain around that. Um,
Page 281,
284, I think.
284.
Well,
Yep.
it goes 4 5, but it's number 3, and I've just written a quick question verb. I got
Yep.
lost here. Yeah, um,
Okay.
I
So,
do read all the notes. Yeah,
yeah, that's all right. So, kai per sophoi ontes, that one.
yeah, yes, that one.
Okay. So, kai per plus participle means although.
Yeah, although wise they were.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
although they were wise,
yeah,
hoi sophistai uk hoioi tersan telta epistastai.
yeah. I
Okay.
think,
So, all, yep.
yeah, I think I got confused by the T apostrophe and so on. Yeah,
Although, okay, the sophists,
yep.
hoioi tersan, which is hoios plus Amy, is I am able to. So this is the air son is the third person plural of the imperfect of Amy.
All right.
So they were not able, because there's got the ook there negating it,
Yep.
they were not able, tauta epistastai, to know these things.
To understand them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Thank you very much. There are other questions. If I go back, so number 7, it seems to be page 285.
Yep.
Continue.
Okay.
Page.
So yeah, the same section of questions number 7. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it?
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yep. 285.
Yeah.
Este menga de pantes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's where I wasn't sure Mengar's there. So what was that exactly? I got quite a lot of it through my mind.
Hoi en te pole adelphoi. Okay, so the subject is in the nominative, and that is hoi adelphi, right? The brothers. Yeah.
Right.
Now, Esther is second person plural. So he is saying you are all pantes brothers in the city. Right?
Mhm.
You are all brothers in the city.
Yeah.
Now then, so est is the main verb there. Yep. Second person plural of the verb to be.
Yeah.
Yep. Harte un sun genes ontes. Parenthèse.
That's it.
Okay. So harte plus participle. So kai pair plus participle, although harte plus participle since or because. Right. So since uh, you are all related, sunganes in the singular. So you are all akin. You are all
Yep.
akin. Paidas homoius an humin autois genote.
So
Uh,
genote, you would breathe.
yeah, so in the optative,
Yeah.
in the present, so you with an un, so you could,
Yes, this was very hard. Yeah. Yeah. I remember now.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could generate children, PIDAS, and they've put that in the brackets. You could generate children, and then the predicate of that object is homoious, that are alike, children alike or like, and that takes a dative, you yourselves, who mean altois. So the personal pronoun who mean, which is the second person plural pronoun, the dative, plus altois, which is that intensive pronoun.
You yourself. Is that what that's it?
Yeah, like you yourselves. You could generate children like you yourselves, to be very literal.
Is that saying like you yourself? Is it Martin or not?
Sorry? Like you,
I'm getting dropout here.
yeah, like you yourself. Yeah. Except it's plural, so you yourselves, right? Yeah, is that homoious?
Oh yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yep.
So they will you could generate an plus genoite, which is the potential optative, right? You could generate direct object, paidas, children, and then in apposition to children, homoious,
Yep.
like, and then what they're like is you yourselves. Is that okay, Margaret?
I'm getting no sound. Is that correct?
I'm getting sound.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm getting no sound. Okay. Well, what do you think I should do? Sorry.
that's all right.
Can you hear
So,
Martin now?
Yeah, I'm getting sound now.
Okay. So
okay.
it's restored itself.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
No.
any more sections to look at, Margaret?
Oh, 10?
On the
Teacher.
same page?
Yeah.
So Martin, just going
Yes.
back to 7 there.
Yep.
That men garde, is that a mende type of thing happening at the beginning?
Yeah.
It might be, but we don't get the dare.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so we just get part of the sentence.
Yeah,
So
okay.
gar relates to what happened before. I said
Yeah,
that because you are all brothers in the city since, right? Since this, uh, and then we get a main clause. You could generate children. So we don't get a dare just in this construction because we're missing
okay.
two. Yeah.
Okay, yep, bits of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that did confuse me. That really harmed me. Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I have got,
you don't
yeah.
always get a dare. You do most of the time with men, but you don't always though. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
All right. In number 10, what I
Mhm.
couldn't understand was what the on meant. Before the first comma, kai sophos on. What's the on doing there? That's what I couldn't position. Number 10. I can't hear anything.
I haven't said anything.
Oh, good. Thanks. Oh yeah, you got to think.
Yeah, so kai per telikutos, kai sophos on. So kai per plus participle means although.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
So
that.
kai per plus on means although you are so old and wise. Yep.
All right.
And you, kai su, a tis said didaskoi, if anyone were to teach you, ho me tunkanes epistamenos, what you don't know, what you happen not to know, beltion an gignoia, uh, you would become better. So we
Yeah.
get the concessive clause at the beginning. Although you are so old and wise, then we get a conditional sentence, right? Protasis. If someone were to teach you what you happen not to know, then the apodosis, you would be better.
Thank you very much. Thank you
So
very
yeah.
much. Yeah. Okay, that's excellent, Martin. Lovely. So, you know, I've got this sentence. It goes, Eidos ten alethean ho Martin pecrinato. Do you know what I said to you? Knowing the truth, Martin answered. That's what I found in the book. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I learned it especially because I knew you would.
Right.
Eidos ten alethean ho Martin arek pecrinato.
Right, on occasion. On occasion.
Most of the time. Apolis. No, what? How is? Yeah, lots. Most time. There's a lot. TIS is giving time. I'm really happy I've got all these times coming up. Anyway, sorry, I'm just raving. I've been working very hard.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, any other exercises or explanations or anything that we can go over?
I did get a little bit hung up in some things, and then I remembered them later. Yeah, there was in the section, which I think is page 285, which is a grammar section, there's echo plus adverb, right? So they're talking about echo plus adverb, and then you get to a sentence where you've got echo, and then you've got laches de tonde, ora, opos eche. I couldn't really understand what that was about. See how laches here is.
So this is page 286. Yep.
Or 285, 286. Yeah, I've got
286.
286
Yeah.
is it? Yeah, I haven't got the
Yeah.
precise. Thanks. 286 precisely. Thank you.
And we're looking at the middle quote where it says "Lacerta de tonde."
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So that Lacerta is the accusative for laces.
Okay. Yep.
De tonde, and tonde is also masculine singular accusative, so it's agreeing with laces.
Yeah.
Then hora hopos eche. So hora is imperative. It's hora
Yeah.
plus and the and the a contract to a. So hora means see. So see this lucky's here. See lucky's here. Indirect question. Hopos eche. How he is. In what way? Yeah. What condition he's in. See how
All
he
right.
is.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And he was an Athenian general I read about. Okay. All right. I do
Yes.
get that now, actually. Yeah. I caught up on it. Sometimes I can't see it, and then I later remember some crucial bit of information.
Yeah. So normally you would say in English, see how Laches is, right?
Yeah.
And that sometimes happens in Greek too. So you would have hora, hopos, lakerta, eche, right? But in Greek, sometimes that the subject of that subordinate verb eche is brought into the main clause, and here it's brought to the front of the sentence. So it's like saying lucky, see how he is, right? But that's not something that we do in English, except ungrammatically to draw attention to something.
Right.
Yeah, but that's often happens in Greek.
Okay.
That's what's called prolepsis.
Yes, thank you. You're bringing that back. I did read about it, and we did talk about it earlier. That's
Yeah,
about it. That's about
okay.
it for my musing for the moment. Otherwise, I go back to 21 and right back, But we'll pick that up later when we're revising. I think I'll pick it up, and if I've still got questions, I'll ask. Thank you
Okay,
so
great.
much. Yeah, thank you so
No
much.
problem.
Yeah.
Rob, was there anything that you?
No, Martin, I didn't actually get to do anything this week. I was just still in
Are you still ill?
I'm sort of not ill, but I'm just in the post there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm slipping behind, but I'll catch up again.
Oh, I hope you
Okay.
do. It's just you will. It's just awful. You
Well,
got kind
I'm
of
impressed. I'm impressed, Margaret, with what you've done.
thank you very much. I've had a real hard-working, concerted time. I've been able to focus.
Yeah,
I've got through some barriers that have been kind of almost decades old. Yeah, just
right.
lately. Yeah, just
Ah,
lately. Seen through. Yeah. Thank goodness. It's
mm,
nice. Yep. It's good people, it is good people. They're being with good people doing good things that I love. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, well, we can march on to section
Yeah.
23. So, do you both have it open, and then I can just use the board?
Yep. I've got
Yep.
it.
Got it open. Yep.
Okay, so new words. So, I'm just going to write the first one so ice cross, ice scra, ice scron. So this is a first and second declension adjective. Is that language now familiar enough?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Um,
It's good to have. Thank you. Because otherwise
now,
I've got to check it all out. Yeah.
if we look two down to hair sukos,
Yep.
sukos, air, on. Now, that's also a first and second declension adjective. The only difference is the alpha or the eta that constitutes the first declension ending for the feminine. Right. So the rule is if that alpha follows an epsilon, iota, or a rho, it's an alpha throughout the singular. If it doesn't, then it reverts to an eta for the genitive and the dative. But most of the first declension feminine adjectives stay alpha all the way through, as hedea does because the alpha follows an iota, and as iskra does because the alpha follows a rho. So first and second declension adjectives are iskros and hersukos. And the hairdoos, hairdea, hairdo. So hairdea is first declension, but hairdoos and hairdo, the masculine and neuter, are third declension. So hairdoos, hairdea, hairdo is a first and third declension adjective.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, kaitoi, yeah. Usually you can translate that something like however or and yet, as he does. There's a couple of very slightly irregular adjectives that are very common. Megas, megale, mega, and polus, polare, polu. And they're only irregular in the masculine and neuter singular, nominative and accusative. Otherwise, they're fairly straightforward first and second declension adjectives. And he's printed them out, so we'll have a look at the full declension in a moment. By contrast, macros, macra, macron, and mestos, mester, meston are quite regular first and second declension adjectives. So macros, like a macron is when you indicate that a vowel is long, you put a straight line over the top. That's a macron, which means long. And tor for a human, if you describe someone as macros. Mikros, as in microscope, means small. Yeah. Alternative spelling, smikros. But yeah, mikros, yeah. And then the last one is takus, takeya, taku. So first and third declension adjective. And Beetham points out that the modern Greek for postman is taku dromos, a fast runner. Obviously, their service is superior to the current Australia Post effort.
Martin, for my with the D1 and D2, can you just say quickly, because I know I've read it and I've seen it recently, which is D1, which is D2, you know?
For declensions,
Yeah, those declensions where you've got both. You've got some of them are D1, some of them D2. So D1 must be feminine. That's right, mustn't it? Okay.
so in that whole list of adjectives,
Yep,
the feminines are all first declension,
that's right.
right? Right. So the question is, are the masculine neuter second declension, like
Yep,
ice cross and then neuter ice cron, the first one?
yep.
That's second declension, so it has the same endings as logos for the ice cross
Right,
and as ergon for ice cron. Herdus and herdu, the second one, that's their third declension. So it's a first and third declension adjective. So it's just herdus, and I think, and takus, the last one.
right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, that's what I need. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's really good. All right.
Okay, so yeah, megas, just on the page 293. So you can see, looking at the masculine column, nominative, megas, then the genitive, megalou. So as always, it's the genitive singular that you generally take as the form that will give you uh, the proper stem for all of the endings. So you take off the u from megaloo and you get megal. So that's the proper stem for this adjective. The variation is that, as you can see in the masculine nominative and accusative singular, it's megas, megan, not megalos, megalon. That would be regular, but it's not that. It's megas, megan, as if it's, because that does look like more like a third declension ending. But yeah, so apart from that though, and then if you get the genitive, you take off the u, it's completely regular. You add or, oi, or us, on, ois to get all the remaining singular and plural endings. So same with the neuter, and the neuter, as always, follows the masculine in the genitive and the dative. So megaloo, megalor. But the neuter also, as always, is the same in the nominative and accusative, both in the singular and the plural. So mega in the singular and megala in the plural. Apart from that, entirely regular. But things that get used a lot tend to have more variations. Things that are more rare tend to be a bit more regular. So if you look over the page at 294, we have exactly the same pattern. It's quite regular first and second declension adjective, except the masculine singular, nominative and accusative. It's polus, poloon. And then we get to the genitive, you get polu, which is the same stem that all the other endings have. Take off the genitive u and you get pol, p, omicron, and lambda, lambda. And you can add all the first and second declension endings to that. Again, the exception is also the neuter in the nominative and accusative singular, just one lambda, polu. But in the plural, it's got two lambdas for the nominative accusative plural, polar. But you see this so frequently that you'll become very used to, especially polus. It's, yeah, very, very common. Now, the rest of the chapter is comparatives and superlatives. And comparatives and superlatives applies both to adjectives, as in beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. That's the positive version is beautiful. The comparative is more beautiful. The superlative is most beautiful. But also to adverbs, as in quickly, she ran quickly. She ran very quickly. She ran most quickly. So adverbs too have positive, comparative, and superlative versions. And there are a couple of characteristic endings for comparatives and superlatives in Greek for adjectives, and he starts with the adjectives here. Page 295, about 8 lines down, the comparative adjective ending teros, tera, teron. So because it's a rho, it has an alpha in the feminine, so it's a first and second declension adjectival ending. And then the superlatives are tartos, tarter, to tau, so it ends in a eta, tarton. So the first two examples are dikaioteros, dikaiotera, dikaioteron, which means more just. Now he's going to point out later in the chapter that whereas, again, I'll just put this on the board. So for the comparatives, you have the positive meaning, whatever that is. Then the comparative, which in English is pretty much restricted to more X, whatever it is, more beautiful, faster, something like that. Whereas in Greek, it can be that, so more, whatever, but it can also be very, whatever it is, very beautiful, very quickly. Similarly with the superlative, the English is pretty much restricted to most, say, most beautiful, most just, or fastest. Whereas the Greek can mean that. It can be most beautiful, most just, fastest, but it can also be extremely fast, extremely beautiful. And so, yeah, it just sometimes leads to having to make decisions to translate things slightly differently than you would for a normal superlative in English. So if we look, still at the middle of page 295, so he's got, dikaioteros as dikaioteros, dikaiotera, dikaioteron, more just, or very just. Right. And then dikaiotatos, dikaiotate, dikaiotaton, most just or extremely just. Just depending on the context, it sometimes has this other meaning. And he's got a couple of paragraphs on this on page 299. Yeah, so we'll come back to that later. We'll catch up to that later. Right. So at the bottom of page 295, he points out a couple of irregularities. So you normally have the ending teros or tartos, but some of those have been abbreviated just through use. So the adjective philos, which means friendly, dear to one, and the comparative is not philoteros but filteros, just the omicrons dropped out. And the superlative, friendliest or most dear, is philtartos, not philortartos. And similarly, her sukos, comparative her sukaiteros, which is slightly unexpected diphthong, I. And
how did that come in? You wouldn't expect that. What to do with pronunciations come in or what? Amazing.
Yeah, well, languages aren't machines, so
No.
people make associations in sound that don't strictly correspond to, you know. Uh, okay, so having gone through that quickly, I think maybe if we just have a look at a couple of exercises just for practice. It's a top of page 296.
Mm.
Actually, let's do a couple on page 294 and then go over to page 296. So let's just do the first two. So, Margaret, can you read number 1 on page 294 where it says, what is the English for in the middle of the page there?
Yep. Okay. So he megalopolis. So that means the well, it means big, but have I got to say better city, or what have I got to say?
No, that's a positive. So it is just great, as
The
in
great city. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It could
Thank you.
mean the big city, or it could mean the great as in impressive,
Yep.
just
Yeah. That sort of. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And Rob, for number 2.
Polyidoxy. So many opinions.
That's it. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so let's just do a couple of the harder ones before we skip ahead. So, Margaret, can you read number 6?
Number 6. Yes. Okay. So ho logos megastetis moi phainetai kai u radios didein. Oh, that looks a bit complex.
It
So,
is, but yeah,
mm,
yeah.
just the word or the staining or the study or yeah, megastetis moi
So
phainetai.
logos in Plato is normally going to be speech or argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know he translates it. Beetham translates it as word, but that's not. There's a very few instances where it means a word.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, just as a default, and here it's something like argument. So the
Yes.
hologos,
So
yeah,
then great. Something to me, but I can't remember finite. It appears to me, or
yeah, no, that's perfect. It appears
yeah,
to
it
me.
appears to me, and not Phaedos D-Dane. That's past me. I don't. Radios is easy, is it?
That's
Something that.
right.
Yeah, good. Radios, but I don't know D-Dane. That looks like an infinitive of some kind, but it's got a
Yeah.
circumflex, which is not.
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, so
that's the best I think I can do at
a
the moment.
no, that's very good. So Adon is the second aorist for Hara'or. So Adon means I saw. It's got the same stem id as the word ideia, or the look of something, right? Which is the thing you saw, and ultimately the idea in Plato's sense. So the argument appears to me, moi phinatai, te kai. It appears to be both megas tis. Now tis is accented only because the moi is enclitic, right? So
Yes,
tis is the indefinite. It appears to me something great. So the argument appears to me to be something great.
right.
Kai and harios, which is, as you say, not easy.
Yeah,
And D idane is D means, from dia through, right? And then idane, which is that stem from adon, right? No augment because it's the infinitive, not the, you only have the augment in the indicative. So D idane means to see through.
not transparent.
Yeah, well, not easy to understand, basically.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and that's proper Greek. Like it just has a different construction from what we're used to in English.
Yeah.
Do you want to tackle the next?
7, yeah.
Yeah.
Polun de chronon I aletheis doxai uk ethelusi paramenein alla drapetuusen ectes psyches to anthropou. Okay.
So the first phrase, Polun det chronon, I'll just very quickly say this. The cases when they refer to time, the accusative is the time throughout which the genitive is the time within which, like you know, if you said in the night, right? The dative is the time at which. So if you use the dative with the word night, you would say you would be meaning at night. If you said the genitive, it would be in the night. And if you said through the night, it'd be accusative. So here it's polun de chronon. So, for a long time.
Okay. So the true opinions, is it?
Yep. True opinion. Yep. Yep.
Through hang on. True opinions.
So then we need the main.
Yes, not hang on. Oh, okay. Usi, that's a third person. Usi. Third person plural, isn't it?
That's right.
So right, Ethelur is, oh God. Oh, Ethel. Ethel is that willing?
Yes. Yes.
I keep thinking of ethyl alcohol
Right.
making me more willing to do something.
Right. We have to make our connections with
I
these
know.
things.
It's just one of those little things.
Yeah.
So that's why I was going Ethel. Cold Ethel was anyway, Alice Cooper song. So
All right.
they are not willing. So the true opinions are not willing through time, is it?
For a
Throughout,
long time.
for a long time. Okay.
But and willing in Greek as in English usually takes an infinitive to describe what you're
Oh,
willing.
willing to paramenein, right? Whatever a paramenein is.
Take away the para, and what do you have? Menane. Can you?
Menein.
Waiting,
Ah, is it?
I think. Well, that's
Yes.
just
So
memory.
yeah, menor means to remain or wait, and para menor means like just to stand by, so to wait
Right,
for. Yeah.
okay.
So
Are
so
not
the
willing.
true opinions, yeah,
Right. Are
are
not
not willing to remain
okay.
for a long time.
For a long time. Wow, okay. But I'm thinking, is that right? Allah?
But yeah, that's right. But
But
instead, yeah.
Drapetusian. Okay.
Yeah, so that's run
I
away.
don't,
So
okay.
drapeteuo is I run away. So, but rather they run away.
Yeah.
Ektes psyches.
Oh, from the soul, from the
Yep, from the soul
of men,
of a human being.
of a
Yeah,
of a man. Right.
yeah.
Right.
So literally, they run away from the soul of a human being. But in English, you could just say they run away from the human soul, or they run away from yeah, someone's soul. But yeah,
They elude us.
yes, they,
Okay. They sort of flee from us, sort of.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Okay, that's good. Let's skip over
So hang
sorry.
on. So that was sort of like true opinions sort of don't don't hang around, but they run away from us.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
they're not, yeah, literally they're not willing to wait or to stay
Okay, to wait, not willing to wait. Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
for a long time, but rather they run off from the soul of a human being. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel as though that must be a comment on current media, but I'm not too sure how to work that in. Yeah.
Yeah. The true opinions are allowed to flash up briefly during the midst of
That's
nonsense.
right. That's right. Okay, sorry.
So if we have a look at page 296 at the very top,
Mhm.
should we just do the first couple again? Margaret, can you read the first?
So zale portaton. Oh, that's the end.
Kalepo,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, sorry, hale portaton. I
Kalepo.
know that. Yeah, echo.
Yeah.
So hale portaton. I
Right. So
know.
kalapos is difficult. And
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. And so the tartos, that's the superlative ending. So kaleportaton is that's the neuter. Unless it's a masculine, a singular accusative, it could be a masculine accusative. But presuming it's just the nominative neuter,
Yeah,
that would usually translate as a most difficult thing.
yeah,
Right.
extremely difficult. Okay.
Yeah, the most difficult thing or a very difficult thing. Yeah. Rob, do you want to try number two?
yeah. Athleoteros. And I see down here there's a little cheat sheet. Wretched.
Yeah,
So the teros is the more wretched.
Yeah,
that's right. That's
yeah.
right. It's yeah. I mean that is often the meaning. It can mean working because it's got the same root as athlon, prize, and athletes, athlete.
Oh, right.
Right, but athletes tend to be
Yes.
yeah.
This is this connection between having to work and being wretched
Yes.
or evil. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Um. Actually, got a yeah. Should we look at number 5 and 6?
Yep.
Since they're from actual Platonic text. Margaret, do you want to read number 5?
Right, okay. Akribestera paideia. Oh, so akribestea is the best or better. Or just on terra. So it's the more better. It's the
It's
better.
yeah, and the adjective that it originally comes
Paideia.
from is akribes, which has endings like alethes, true. And so akribes means precise.
Ah, okay. Akribestera. I wouldn't have known that. Paideia. So paideia's got a sheet down here. So education. I
Yeah.
can see it's it's children and it's play and all those things. So it's education. Okay. Paideia. So
Yeah,
is it the
so
most precise education? Okay.
well yeah, probably either comparative, a more precise or a very precise education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
more
that's it.
precise. It is more precise. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Rob, do you want to do number 6?
6. Okay. Is Iscuret Iscuret is Iscuroteros Dego kai Neoteros Amy. Okay.
Yeah, this is young Phaedrus talking to Socrates and telling him that he has to answer his question.
Right. Iscu
So iskuros is
oh,
strength.
we had that
Strong,
earlier. Oh,
strong.
okay.
Yeah. Iskus is strength. Iskuros is strength. Um,
Is
Iskuroteros is the comparative. Do you
right,
have
okay. Strong like stronger.
yeah. Iskuroteros, dego, I am stronger.
Stronger.
Kai neoteros.
Right.
So
Neoteros.
neos,
Right.
neos, neon is new.
Right. Stronger is a
Or
sort of like younger.
new or young. So yeah, because
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. So
Yes.
I am stronger and younger. Yeah, that's right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's where we get
Nina.
the word news
Nina.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Naos means newly.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So at the end.
Oh yeah, it's got naos, naya, naon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Young or new. Yeah.
So what precisely is the de ego doing? What's the de? Is that for sound or what is it? The de
Well,
apostrophe.
okay,
Yeah.
so if you've got Amy, which he's inserted, then you
Yeah.
don't need Egor. So Egor is emphasizing, he for some reason saying, but I, and det is just every sentence begins with a conjunction. You don't have to translate it in English if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Whereas if it's gar, you probably
Yeah.
want to because it's connecting to the previous sentence, or man, yet, that kind of thing. Kai toi,
Yeah.
kai pair, hard
Mhm.
to. But if it's just de, sometimes there's no need to put and. Or,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so the next section is irregular comparatives, and the example is beltion. So this is these are third declension adjectival endings. So beltion, and you can see the nominative, it has the same form for the masculine and the feminine, like the indefinite pronoun. You know, like you've got tis, that's the masculine and feminine, and then t, that's the neuter. And it's the same. It's the same with these third declension adjectives. Beltion is both masculine and feminine, and then beltion is the neuter. So that's less endings. So to find out how it works, you have to take off the os, which is the typical masculine or feminine ending for a third declension noun. Take that off the genitive, and you get beltion, and that's the standard ending, standing stem. Sorry
Mm.
for the whole declension. It's just that, like all third declension nouns, you can't predict what it's going to be in the nominative from the stem. So it's beltionos in the genitive, whereas it's abbreviated to beltion in the nominative for the masculine. Now, he's printed here with a few alternatives, which is just how it is. So the accusative singular, beltiona, would be the regular, because you've got beltion, the stem, and then the alpha singular is the normal third declension ending. But more frequent is beltior. And similarly, for nominative and accusative plural, the regular third declension ending for a masculine or feminine is es and us. So beltiones, beltionas. But more frequently, the new sound has dropped out and there's been a contraction to beltius, nominative and accusative plural. The neuter, as always, same in the nominative and accusative, both singular and plural. And in the plural, the rule is for a neuter is it ends in an alpha. One minor exception is the nominative accusative plural of third declension adjectives, where it can be beltior. And then you have, it's the same as second declension nouns, like ergon in the accusative neuter is the same as, in its ending, as logon, second declension masculine noun. So here, the accusative singular in the masculine and feminine is beltior. And for the neuter plural, it's beltior in both the nominative and accusative plural. So it's the same form. So for some reason, well, not for some reason, because whether they're in the contracted form or the regular form, the accusative singular masculine and feminine form is the same as the nominative and accusative neuter plural form. And so you just have to tell from the context.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, let's how much?
Right.
I don't want to leave out too much. So yeah, so we have to get to 303. Okay, so let's look at a couple for on top of page 297.
Belchios doxa. Belchios. Can't even find Belchios. Oh, there it is. Accusative, plural. So it means better opinions, does it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
better opinions.
but so doxai is what case? Doxai.
Okay, so doxa. Oh, that's the trick. The ability is it could be accusative.
So
But doxai is nominative, isn't it?
that's right. That's right. Doxai is nominative. So look
Yeah,
back over on page 296, right?
yeah, yep.
Under the masculine and feminine for Beltion, and you'll see the regular endings in brackets, Beltiones, Beltionas, but they can both contract to Beltius. So it looks like, and it looks like an accusative in the second declension, but this is the third declension, nominative and accusative. So Beltius doxai is actually, they're both nominative words. It's unexpected. Given what we've learnt so far, you wouldn't expect Beltius to be nominative, but it can be nominative or accusative.
Okay. Yep.
Can you see that on the left-hand side of page 296?
I can't actually, but I'll check it out later. Don't wait. It's all right. I'll find it. I just can't see it. Sometimes I can't. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But
Yep.
just under, so he's got the whole declension for Beltion, yes?
Yeah. Yep.
So
Beltion, Beltia, Ona, Beltion, Tio.
yep,
Yeah.
yep, and then
Beltionos.
keep going.
Beltionos, Beltioni, Beltiones, Beltius,
Yeah,
Beltionas, Beltius.
that's it.
Oh,
You
there it
see,
is. Yeah, okay, I get
yeah.
it. Yeah,
So
that's what I didn't see. Yep,
yeah. So you see the bracketed versions.
yep.
So what happened is over time, the new drops out, and the
Yeah,
built T on Nes becomes built to use, and the built
yep.
T on Nas also becomes built to use.
Yeah, so they're both nominative. I understand. Thank you very much. Good.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
see. Yeah, I can see where the confusion was. Thank you for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, we've just seen this for the first time, so there's
Oh, good. Yeah.
there's
No.
no reason for you to
Oh,
have
no. It's good
divined
to.
it somehow.
No, it's good to find it. Yeah. Thank you. That's how you
Yeah,
learn. I'm
but
happy. Don't
there
worry.
are this pattern is reason. It's the this pattern of comparatives, Beltion, that he has on 296. That's actually a very common pattern for comparative adjectives. So it is good to become more familiar with that. And because it's counterintuitive for what we've seen for noun endings before. These are adjectives, but yeah, just going on the declension endings. Okay, so Rob, do you want to read number 2?
Yeah. Belchior, Doxan, Echor. So I have better opinion. A better opinion.
It's what we all think.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So Beltior is that alternative spelling for the accusative singular.
Yeah.
Agreeing with doxan, the feminine.
Accusative.
Yeah. Let's just do 5 and 6 because that's also Platonic Greek.
Okay, so Beltius Logus Urisko. Oh, Herdisko. So, Herdisko. Is that thing I'm discovering? I mean,
Yes.
it's herism. I'm discovering, and then it says, so this is the same, but it's accusative this time. So I'm discovering better arguments.
Perfect. That's a perfect
good
translation.
on me. Right.
Yes.
That's
but you see directly above, you suggested this as you made your translation. Exactly the same spelling, Beltius.
Yeah.
In the first case, it's nominative. In the second case, it's accusative. So
Accusative.
that's the main thing to become aware of with this comparative form. That
Yeah.
it has that us ending. Rob, do you want to do number 6?
Yeah. Tis autus Beltius Poie.
So
Okay.
this is Socrates talking to one of his, well, he's interrogating one of his accusers, and he says, "You've accused me of corrupting the youth. Well, who makes them better?"
Right.
Right. So you must
Okay.
know, you must have knowledge of that if you know I'm
I
making them worse.
see.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yes.
Um, yeah, because then Miletus has to say, well, because they're in front of 500 jurors, and he says, well, these men, the jurors, the people who know the law. And then Socrates says, but not the 5,000 people watching. And he says, no, them too. And he says, what about the assembly of 10,000? Yes, them too. So what about all the other citizens? They too. So Socrates says, so what you're saying is everyone in the city of Athens knows how to improve people except me.
Yeah.
Yes. And then he says, that's not how it is with horse training. The few people know how to train horses properly and not the man. Yes. Anyway, that's a little Socratic irony.
Yes.
Okay, so if we go
Yeah.
down to this list of comparative endings and superlative endings, so look at, and this is helpful. This because he starts with agathos, agather, agathon, and he provides 4 different uh, comparatives and superlatives, and that's helpful because there are these 4 different ways of saying better and best. They have a different nuance though. So look at the first one. So ameinon, that's declined like beltion. So ameinon, meaning better, and that's quite closely associated with agathos. So that does mean better in a full kind of sense. And the superlative is aristos, obviously words like
Mhm.
aristocracy, aristos, arister, ariston. So that's first and second declension adjective, whereas ameinon is this third declension endings. Then beltion, beltistos. So completely different stem, meaning better and best, but also a fairly full sense. Whereas kraton, kratistos, so kraton, kraton, that comes from words meaning to have strength or power. So
Mhm.
it sometimes it doesn't mean like a better person, it just means stronger person.
Mhm.
And law on lawstos ultimately comes from a verb that's not used that means preferable or desirable. So it means better as in more desirable. Yeah, so they're just different. Yeah, you'll see them in different contexts having a slightly different sense. Especially the difference between ameinon and kraton.
Mhm.
But yeah, also noticing that they have the on ending for the comparatives. So that's why learning that paradigm for beltion is very helpful because there's so many comparative adjectives that take that pattern. Whereas in the superlatives, you get the os, on endings. So that's easy because we know that from sort of kalos, kaler, kalon, and you just got to transfer that to aristos, arister, ariston, beltistos, beltister, beltiston, and so on. Okay, so yeah, ice cross, shameful or ugly. In the same way that kalos means beautiful or noble, the opposite of kalos is ice cross, shameful or ugly. And then it's ice kion is more shameful or uglier, and ikistos. Ekthros, hostile, ektheon, ekthistos, herdus, herdeia, herdu, pleasant. Herdion, so just 2 endings, and herdistos, herdister, herdiston, most pleasant. Okay, I'll leave you to explore the rest of that list. We've just run through a few already. Now, yeah, so just on page 299, where he says other meanings, the comparative can be used for rather or to. Now, this is actually his example there from the Apology, is one of these Yeah, not particularly common uses of the negative me agroikoteron. Yeah, if it's not too, yeah, agroikos means something like rustic or rude or crude. Um, and yeah, so that's the comparative can mean, we might as well do the sentence. Tote mentoi ego, u logo, al ergo, al enedexamen, hoti emoi thanatu mele. So tote, the sentence begins very emphatically by pointing out then at that time, yet at that time, I demonstrated enedexamen. So that's the first person singular, middle aorist. So I demonstrated um, by, yeah, in speech and deed, logo, not in speech, sorry. U logo, not in speech, al ergo, but in deed, hoti emoi thanatu mele. Now that literally means that death is a care for me, but in the speech he's saying death is not a care for me. Oh yeah, okay, so that's at the end. Okay, so that death is a care for me, a me agroikoteron, and a pain. If it's not too crude to say so, ude hotiun, not, so the ude goes with melee. That death is not a care for me, hotiun, at all. Meaning I wasn't worried about death at all. If it's not crude, too rude a thing, too coarse a thing to say. Yeah. So here, like as he says at the top, the comparative can mean rather or to, like very, or if it's not too crude to say, too coarse, it's not very crude to say. And then the superlative can mean either most, the most beautiful, the fastest, for the adverbs, or very much or extremely. So ane sophotatos, an extremely wise man, or the wisest man. Yeah. Yeah, and there's an example. Hupot tu sopho tatu ke ronos pet pi de eumenon. So pet pi de eumenon, that's the perfect passive participle. And here it's, if it's a person, then where it's in the accusative in some context that we don't have. So having been educated, hupo tu sopho tatu, by the very wise, extremely wise Kron, or by the wisest Kron. But there's only one Kron, so we have to say he's very wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, now if we go to page 300, just the second paragraph, comparative and superlative adverbs. So we've been dealing with adjectives. So beautiful, more beautiful, most beautiful. But adverbs also have comparative and superlative form. And the most common way of indicating the comparative and superlative adverb form is by using the adjective in the neuter accusative, usually in the singular, but also in the plural. So as he says, the neuter singular accusative is used for a comparative adverb, and that's the most common way of doing it. So alethesteron, so that's the neuter accusative for the comparative of alethes, true, and that means, and alethesteron could be the adjective, more true or very true, or it could be being used adverbially, meaning in a more true manner, more truthfully. So the example from the Gorgias, tut alethesteron aerekas, or Socrates. So a rare cast, that's the main verb. It's got a perfect form from eideror, to speak. So a rare cast, you have spoken. Tut is the direct object. This, and then alethesteron, which is the adjectival form being used adverbially. You have spoken this very truthfully or more truthfully, Socrates. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So you can also have actual adverbial comparative endings ending in os, like kalos is the adverbial form of kalos, the adjective beautiful or noble, and then kalos, beautifully done or said. Similarly, I'll just read the Greek. Poteron, alethesteros, doke soi legesthai. So alethesteros, that's the comparative. It's got that teros stem, but it ends in the distinctly adverbial ending of os. So yeah, it's a question, Potteron, and Potteron is asking for one of two. So which of two seems to you, doke soi legesthai, to be said, to be stated, alethesteros, in a more truthful manner, more truthfully. So that's the comparative. Normally you have the singular, neuter singular accusative. Neuter plural accusative is the most frequent way of indicating the superlative. So we have the superlative adjective for alethes is alethestata in the neuter plural, nominative and accusative. The same form in the accusative can be used as the superlative adverb. And the example from the Laches there, alethestato leges, you were speaking most truly. Or you're saying things that are most true. You're speaking most truthfully. Yeah. Okay, irregular comparative and superlative adverbs. So mala usually means something like very. And then a very common comparative form, marlon, more or rather. And that's the word, when you say more than, you have marlon air, more than this, more than that. Malista, which is also an extremely common word. So those three words, mala, marlon, malista, are very, very common. Malista means, most of all, especially, to the highest degree. There's a variety of different ways you can translate it, but to get the point across in context. Yeah, but the basic thing is most of all, as in, and marlon is just more. The other two comparatives he's got for very are hairton, hairkister. And hairton is less and hairkister least of all. Yeah. Hairton, can often have the sense of lesser than, less than, or weaker than someone or something else. Polu, play on, playster, much, more, most. Taku, taka. So both of them mean quickly. Tharton, sooner or faster, and takista, fastest, soonest. Yeah. Right. Okay, so let's just do the first two for this section of what is the English for at the bottom of 300. So number one, Margaret, can you read that?
Well, it said, but I will tell you, and I can't suffer more wisely or something, isn't it?
Oh, close. Yeah, like so suffers means clear.
Or clearer. Oh, yes, it does. Thank you. So I will tell you more clearly.
Yeah, perfect. That's
Yep,
really good. I will
yep.
speak. Yeah, I'll tell you more clearly. I'll speak to you more clearly. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Actually, I tell you more clearly is better. Yeah, that's
I know.
yeah.
I know. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, yeah. Orthotata ephen hupilabis.
So
Okay.
a fan, Femi. To
Yes.
so this is just the first person singular in the imperfect. So I said,
Yes. Okay.
um, I said, and it's just quoting. It's not it's indirect speech, but it doesn't modify the syntax of the original. Sorry, I just have to open a door.
Yep.
Give me one sec.
Oh.
So hupolombano, which literally means take up from below, but it can mean to interrupt, to respond, to
Yes.
comprehend, and lumbano grasp,
Yes.
elabon secondarist, and this is the second person singular of the secondarist. So
So
you.
I said you understood. Uh, mm, Ata. So is this sort of more correctly?
So
No, most correctly.
that's right. That's right. That's perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
I said you understood most correctly, very correctly.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So over the page on 301, horse or hottie with a superlative adjective or adverb, it just usually means as much as possible, whatever it is. Like, um, yeah, if you look like takista, horse takista, as fast as possible. Um, let's see what the example he comes up with. So he's got an example from the Republic. I'll just read it first. So hop horse, hottie playstair, altois, eudaimonia, and Ganassatai. Yeah, so they're doing something hop horse, so that, right, with the intended result that hottie place stare. That's agreeing with a eudaimonia, so that and Ganassatai, that's the future from and gignomai, that that happiness will come to be in them. So the n at the beginning of en Ganassatai modifies the altois. Uh, so I just have to rescue someone for whom the lift has failed to function.
Go.
Okay. So let's go to the bottom of page 301. Michael, do you want to read that one that's two lines from the bottom? And then Rob, if you can read the one at top of page 302. And we'll...
301. Are you talking 301 or 300?
Yeah, 301. Actually, we'll do the Republic one. So can you read that? Like it's about 4 or 5 lines from the bottom of above the footnotes. The one that begins Polu gar amenorn.
Oh, okay. Oh, so are you working in the grammar? So polugar amenon ara ho to adiko he ho to dikau bios. So the translation is right there, but
Yep.
it's polu poloi. So for much better than I can see for much better than amenon. Amenon ara or to
So
adiko.
what he's actually talking about is not. So if you see the first, so you see ho to adiku. right? So that's not
Yeah.
complete. That requires us to get to the end of the sentence where he's got bios.
Oh, I realize that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So hot to adiku bios, the life of the unjust man. Right. So he's drawing a conclusion from his argument. This is Glaucon challenging
Oh, yeah.
Socrates. He and Adeimantus say, prove to us that it's better to be just than unjust. And he presents an argument to the opposite conclusion that so the life of the unjust man is pollu amenorn. So amenorn, that's the comparative, is better, going with better than. Now,
That's
when
what
you
I didn't get that. Yeah.
yeah, so when you say this is better than that or bigger than that, you have two ways of doing it. One is with air, which normally means or, right? But with a comparative adjective or adverb, it can mean better than, and then you have the same case. So ho to a diku bios, air ho to dikayu bios,
Yeah.
right? So bios and the ho is in the same nominative case.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one way of doing a comparison. So the life of the unjust man is better, pollu by far. That's an accusative being used adverbially, right? The life of the unjust man is better by far than the life of the just man. Right. So that's one way of doing a comparison. The other is you have a comparative and occasionally a superlative adjective, and you have a genitive. And this is the example that he's got immediately following. So tu maize dawn megistu. So maize dawn is the neuter comparative, and it's greater than this tutu megistu, greater than this greatest whatever it is, man, person, so greater than the greatest. Right. I wish he'd chosen a different example because he's mixing up. Well, not mixing up, but he's got the comparative and the superlative right next to each other. But you can see, so even if you just had tu maize dawn, greater than this one, right? So that's what there's no air, and the tu goes into the genitive to indicate that it's a comparison. So two different ways of doing it. And then if we go over the page, Rob, do you want to read that one and we'll work through it?
Tidestin, Mazdon, Agathon, Anthropois, Hugaius.
Right. So
Yes.
so question T, what is Mazdon Agathon? What is a greater good, anthropos, for human beings? And then we could have had air, hugi aya, but instead we just have hugi ayas, no air, it's in the genitive. So what is a greater good for a human being than health? You can see how our word hygiene is related to hugi aya. Yeah.
There's no hit in there. Okay.
So then page 303. Yeah, and let's just have a look at where he's got halfway through the page, Hosor Tosutor. So that's a relative and then a demonstrative version of correlative pronouns. So hosos is how much, tosutor is this much. And this is a common expression to have them in datives, like by as much as this, by this much that, by as much as they had more people in the army, by this much they destroyed us more, and we've got an example from the Crito. So ho prothumia su polu axia ayer a metatinos or thotetos ayer. So prothumia is to, eagerness, like to put your heart, your thumos, forward into something. So your eagerness, her prothumia su. Your eagerness, polu axia, would be worth much. A metatinos or thotetos if if it followed a certain correctness, meta plus genitive, if it accompanied a certain correctness, that is, if it was right. So your eagerness would be worth a lot if it was correct, right, if it accompanied a certain correctness. If it followed after a certain rightness. A der mer, but if not, hosor maisdorn tosutor a kale portera. So, but if not, if it doesn't follow what is correct, hosor maisdorn, by as much as it is greater, tosutor, by so much it is kale portera, more harsh, more difficult or harsh. Yeah.
I've been always terrified of that particular aspect of my personality, as a matter of fact. And reading about the enthusiasts in philosophy and so on, in French, was just terrifying.
Right. Should we just do one more each of the what is the English for, and then that'll
Okay,
probably do us. Number one, Margaret, can you read that one?
I'll try.
Not with too much enthusiasm.
Yeah. Tach an per adete uk epistemetis.
Right.
Okay. So it's something about being better than virtue or knowing, not knowing, or not knowledge. Oh, no. Okay. So start again, Margaret. Get away from the zeal. So tacha always can be used in probably. Okay. Probably. You better take over, Martin. Go on. I'll waste your time.
No. So, okay, just starting with the simple things like, so her aderater, that's nominative, so that's the subject.
Yeah.
We've got episteme, but it doesn't have the article. So her aderater looks like it's the subject.
Yeah.
And it's an ayer, the verb ayer with the modal particle an. So virtue, it would not be a certain science, a certain realm of knowledge.
Yes.
And Tucker, usually it has the sense of perhaps in this context, like perhaps virtue would not be a certain field of knowledge or science.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But he hasn't. I don't know if he's pointed. He's got.
I love that. Yeah.
So we skipped over Tucker at the very top of the page where he says it can mean probably or perhaps or
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have pointed that out before we got here. But
I got it anyway. But I love the way Greek uses tis and t and so on. I love that t. I just love that, the specific,
Right.
Yeah. I'm speaking to a specific person. I like it in that context especially.
Right. Rob, do you want to read number
2?
Yeah.
Okay. Ukun hemes anthropou melon de penton anthropon doxas legomen.
So ukun can mean just therefore or so. And so, what's our nominative subject?
The subject. That's what I'm trying to find. Is it mm, people.
Well, so we need a nominative. So Hermas, sorry, Hermes,
Oh,
Hermes.
Hermes.
Yeah,
Okay, right. Hermes, which is
We,
we.
we, I think.
we. Yeah, so
Yep.
we, and then we've got a genitive. So which means literally something like of a human being. So we can't complete that. We need more information.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so we, at least to put it in English. Now it's got of a human being, marlon de panton anthropon, but more, or rather, of all human beings, doxas legomen. So we, and so the verb legomen has this, yeah, that we've got the right subject, hermes, legomen, both first person plural.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are speaking opinions of a human being, but rather of all human beings,
Okay.
which out of context it's not an extremely meaningful thing to say.
Oh well, you might feel like you're going down the right path if you're speaking for if it's well, I was going to say if it's something held by many people, but that's not always true.
It depends on the context too, yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah, but that because Theaetetus, they're discussing, yeah, what it means to know something. So if everyone thinks it, everyone without exception thinks it, then it's
Yeah.
difficult to deny. But yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, you seem to obviously have grasped the notion of the chapter, yeah, very quickly. So there's a few different forms.
And it's
We,
those nuances at the end that are the real tricky bits, aren't they?
you mean like the construction of the comparative sentence with
Yeah, and
yes, yeah,
the yes, that's right. All the
and
thans and
that's right,
and
that's right.
hoti.
And the alternative meanings of the comparative and the superlative is either intensive or as actually comparative. Yeah. So yeah. But not the hardest chapter we've had in terms of
No,
the complexity of the syntax. But yeah, have a go at that, and then yeah, we're
good.
steaming through the last three sections, and then we'll go back to the Mino and some revision of the syntax.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, reading the Mino, we'll get automatic revision of the syntax.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, studying it and reading it. It's really fabulous putting the sentences together. I love it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it's very good when we get to that point. Okay, yeah. Let me know if you want to ask questions during the week. Otherwise, I'll see you next Wednesday.
Great.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Thanks.
Look after yourself.
Yeah, you too.
You too.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.